Hello and welcome back to the Welsh Premiership podcast and episode 30 today. And myself, Hayden, Tobias and Adam are joined today by a former pro and currently outside half for Bridgend Ravens, Matt Jones. Matt, how are you?
I'm good, thanks guys. Thanks for the invite onto the show and looking forward to seeing what's ahead, guys.
So yeah, you've joined Bridgend this season. How did the move come about?
I'm a mistake boy. It's just down the road anyway. But I'm good friends with Steve Jones, Jabba, the head coach at Bridgend. Our sort of Monday to Friday jobs are similar. He's at Gower College. I'm at Coleg Gwent, Cross Keys, and so we meet and speak quite regular. But we're also teammates of the Dragons many years ago, and we've just continued our relationship there. And like I say, we're always in communication, and the chat was about coming to Bridgend, and it was an opportunity that was too good to miss out on, really.
Yeah, and you've had a mixed bag of results so far this season. So how do you think the team's playing?
Yeah, I think that's about right. That's quite accurate. Really, we're a good team away from home. We're 100% record away from home, but I haven't won a game at home at the moment. It's a learning curve, particularly for myself as a new coach coming in about the players. There's a lot of new players in there, mixed in with a lot of established players at Bridgend who've been there a long time. So, look, we're using this block as a bit of an opportunity for boys, looking at combinations, like I say, giving opportunities and just rotations in the squad, ready for December, really, where hopefully we should get a good understanding of what potentially our strongest 15 is to take to the field then.
Yeah, and obviously, as mentioned, it's a mixed bag, but I wanted to touch on sort of one of the highlights of the season so far, your victory over Llandovery. How good was it to get a victory over a side like that, and what did you make of that performance overall?
It was really pleasing. Obviously, we mentioned that we have been mixing and matching personnel in the team and giving opportunities to some and looking at different sort of partnerships, etc. But going to Llandovery is a very tough place to go to get a result. The first half wasn't really going our way. 3 tries to 1 down, but the messages were positive. There were opportunities out there. What we aren't at the moment is a difficult team to score against. We can see soft tries without making teams work hard. But we always seem to be a threat in those outside wide channels, which we try to play to space, get the ball to the edges to our back 3 players who are very good. And we managed to do that. We brought a bit of physicality to that second half. Our discipline was much better, and we kept ball really well, and we gave opportunities, and we took those opportunities, and I think we scored 20 unanswered points for second half points, and it was a thoroughly deserved victory and a welcomed one, and it was a massive confidence booster for the boys. But the challenge was then to back it up on Saturday just gone, and we probably failed to do that though. So some good stuff, but like I say, we need to learn now that we got to bring that consistency to our performance as well.
And yeah, disappointing result on Saturday. What went wrong, and how's the injury? Because you went off injured.
Yes, I've got an injury to my. I don't think it's a serious injury. I've been carrying you can probably help me here now. It's a pain underneath my foot plantitis or something. I can't even pronounce it. It's a bit of a pathetic, or sounds like a pathetic injury, but I've been managing it for a couple of months now. But I just planted heavy on it on Saturday and really aggravated it, and was struggling to wait there. So a bit disappointed that I had to come off around the half hour or 35-minute mark in the derby game against Swansea. So yeah, frustrating, disappointed from that point of view. But the performance and result wasn't great for us. Again, discipline cost us dearly, and the scoreline probably didn't reflect it, but it was 2 evenly matched teams on the pitch on Saturday. But the contact area was quite heavily contested, and they slowed a lot of our ball down, which prevented us playing fast into the wider channels. But there were still positives to take from it. It's not all doom and gloom. which were highlighted. And rugby's a great thing. It's you get an opportunity 7 days later to put the wrongs right, and hopefully the boys selected on for Saturday to go down to Carmarthen Quinge, which is obviously going to be a tough ask. We'll put a better performance in and keep that 100% record on the road going for us.
Yeah, in the last few weeks, I know you've been starting at 10 with Jamie Murphy at 12. Do you think the way forward now maybe is to have the two ball players playing together?
Possibly. We've got a couple of good options in the centre for us, and again, this is part of the selection policy is looking at changes in personnel, combinations, etc., and giving boys opportunity. Our club captain, Nathan Edwards, very frustrating for him at the moment, who's out with a hamstring injury since pre-season. So he's still one that we can add to that list of centres, who's a quality player and a Bridgend player through and through. Tom Morgan, a new recruit for us, has played particularly well, picking up 2 man of the match awards previously. And Murph's come in at 12 against Llandovery and this week or last week against Swansea, and I thought Jamie played particularly well at 12. Gives us a different option to Tom, who's been playing 12 previously. So it's good for coaches. It's a headache selection moving forward, but it's one that we look forward to and welcome that sort of good display of performances from Tom and Jamie in the 12 jersey. But we do have Neath to come back in, so competition for places, not just at 12 but across the whole squad is competitive, which is good for Bridgend moving forward.
Yeah, and we're at the halfway point in the Prem Cup now. What are your overall thoughts? Are you disappointed to sort of not get that consistency? But I guess looking back to where Bridgend were before COVID, there's certainly a lot more positive signs there, a lot more positivity in the squad, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so, and I hope so. Training pre-season has gone really well. Again, those results of pre-season were really promising. Narrow losses to Merthyr, pretty much the last kick of the game. One-score game against Newport, victory over My State Quins. So lots and lots of positives to take from it. And we learned a lot about the players, and we still are. Like I said, you can look at it two ways. You could try and pick your best team every week now and try and win games, or you give opportunities to players and look at different combinations ready for the league structure in December, and that's something that we're kind of doing at the moment. Although, yeah, it does benefit us to get a couple of those victories because it does provide a bit of confidence, but there is a bigger picture at the end of it, and we've been upfront and honest with the boys. We mentioned Tom and Jamie at 12. Tom was left out to the starting 15 the last 2 weeks on the back of 2 man of the match performances. That's not a reflection on his performance because obviously he's had man of the matches, but again, we're looking at giving game time and opportunities and looking at different combinations and different styles of play. Like you said, Jamie's potentially more of a ball player. Tom's more of a physical, confrontational player who can also ball play as well. So we're finding out about these players and individuals and partnerships.
And what are your thoughts on the format, the East and West conferences?
I'm just glad we're back. I'm just glad we're back to some sort of competition rugby. There's been lots of debates, what it should be, how it should look. For me, it's a positive that we're back playing rugby after so long out. We're in obviously the west side of the league, which is a tough side. They're all tough. If you look at results across the board from both East and West, there's been mixed bags, some surprise results, and some some close games that potentially you wouldn't have thought so. So I think with the fact we haven't had rugby for so long, some players have retired, some teams are recruited better than others, some are relying on youngsters. It's just a bit of a lottery at the moment, and teams are starting to trying to find their feet, trying to work out, like say, combinations ready for December. Oh, that's certainly what we're doing. But I'm pretty confident come December, we've got a squad that can put Bridgend at the top end of the table. If we sort a few aspects out, we spoke about the discipline, the physicality, because we've got players that can we can create, and we've got players that can be dangerous out in those wide channels. So it certainly is an exciting time for Bridgend and a good time to be involved there.
Yeah, and I know you said obviously you've been trying out new combinations and stuff throughout this Prem Cup so far. So obviously looking ahead to the actual league, what is a realistic expectation now for Bridgend?
Realistically, we want to win leagues. We want to win titles. I mean, there's been past comments about Bridgend being down the bottom end, the Neely men, and I don't go to teams. I don't go to clubs to play and just compete. I go there to win. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But all we can install into this group of players, and I think it is there, is that we just got to empty the tank, both in training, both on match days, and first and foremost make Bridgend a fortress to come to. Whatever the result, whatever team comes there, they know they come in a battle, and they know they've been in a game. And I think we are able to do that. And I think December we'll be in a much better position when December comes to hopefully probably know our squad. Our strongest 15 doesn't necessarily mean the best player plays in that position for that game, because different conditions, different styles of play might suit us better against different opposition. But I fully expect us to be challenging at the top end of the table, pushing for some silverware at the end of the season.
And a lot of people sort of have a lot of stuff to say, particularly negatively on the Premiership. In your opinion, what's the standard of the Prem like, and what's the purpose of the Prem?
It's a good standard. It was really pleasing, actually. I'm not sure if any of you had seen the teams for both Bridgend and Swansea on the weekend. There were a lot of Osprey contingent from academy to transition players. And credit to the Ospreys for getting those boys to Swansea and to Bridgend, for giving them those opportunities, because they've lacked that game time, particularly with COVID, with being young, having programs at the S&C programs, but which is very important. But essentially we're rugby players as well, and those boys have had some much needed game time, and credit to those boys. I can only speak on the ones coming into Bridgend. They've really bought into the environment at training, and they've delivered on a Saturday. So I think that shows the purpose and the pathway of it. It's there to develop. We've got to be careful. I think there's a good opportunity for these youngsters to come in, and a good opportunity for some senior players within the Bridgend environment to help nurture and bring those younger boys on as well. But what we got to remember is these younger players are very exciting. They add an energy, they add a pace to the game, and they are even though they're young, they're in the gym a lot. They're big guys, they're physical as well. So I don't sometimes think they get the credit they deserve. Teams we speak about Cardiff Met and teams like they're students, but these guys they train like full-time professionals. They're big guys, they're strong guys, and it's no different to these young academy boys coming through. They're big physical guys, but they're learning about the game, particularly in certain positions. Your half-backs, your second rows, how they're managing games, the decision-making whilst under pressure is vital, and I think that's really... This league is a really good opportunity for them to play, to get regular rugby and really develop within this league as well.
And there's always the debate between whether these young players should be playing in the Premiership or playing sort of A-team games with the regional sides. What do you think about that? Do you think they're better off playing in the Premiership?
Are there? I'm not too sure about how many of these A-team games there are now. I know there's a development block coming up. I'm not too sure the ins and outs of it, but look, I think we have to work with the regions, work with these players, understand that there's periods where yes, they can go hard on the S&C side of things, and there's periods where they do need to get that game time under their belt. And if we can work with the Ospreys at Bridgend and give those opportunity to those players, and those players got to want to do it as well. What you got to be careful of, you've got your cohort of players as well within the clubs at Bridgend, for example, that are there training week in, week out, and sometimes the cohort from Osprey boys come in only on a Thursday because they have a full week of training with the Ospreys, and it's how we manage that. And we understand that there's a purpose for that. We serve a purpose, and these guys coming in, like I said, I can't fault them. They turn up to training on a Tuesday or a Thursday, full of energy, excited, and they want to wear the Bridgend jersey. And for me, that's brilliant. And when they've played or had the opportunity to come on a Saturday for us, they really delivered, and they actually really enjoy being part of that environment. And I'm sure they see that as part of their development as well. And that seems to be working quite well for Bridgend and the Ospreys at the moment.
Yeah, and obviously you've spoke about the young Osprey boys coming down and making a difference, but just want to touch upon one or two especially. I know Morgan Strong's had a lot of plaudits from Bridgend and Ospreys fans for his performances. And what's it like for you playing alongside Harvey Nash as a scrum half? Do you coach him on the pitch, try and help him along much?
So starting with Morg, I know about Morg. I've watched him play. I know his dad quite well, but I didn't actually know how good he was until I've been in that environment with him. I'm coaching him and playing with him. Morg is a very, very good player, an exceptional player, and he adds tremendously to the Bridgend environment when he's there. For such a young guy, he's a leader as well, and there's a little bit of old school installed in him, which I like as well. The sort of nasty side, and I don't mean nasty as in violence and breaking the rules and laws. I'm talking that controlled aggression. Doesn't accept getting tackled. He runs hard, but he's a bit of a horrible man as well. When you're getting off the floor, he's rubbing your head in, rubbing his elbows in, your knees in, and sometimes these players, young players, are very good. They're athletes, but they lack that bit of just that physicality in that old school era, and I really like it, and it's nice, and that's what he brings. But he's been superb, absolutely superb, both on the training front and come match days. He's been a real asset to us. And I think he really enjoys getting that game time as well. Moving on to Harvey Nash. Oh, geez, he's a very confident young man, and it's great to see. But he takes feedback really well. He's a talented player. His footwork is insane. He's got a good service. He's got an excellent kicking game. I suppose my sort of advice to him while being with myself at Bridgend is his bread and butter, his distribution, his kicking, his decision making, and his execution. If he can constantly do that consistently on a regular basis, for a coach to have a 9 that does that, whether that's in the an easier fixture or a fixture that's really tight, that to me is a really good indication of a 9, and he's developing really well. Another player I really, really rate, and really excited to have him in and around the squad playing for us on a Saturday, and hopefully that will continue for the next couple of weeks, months or so, selfishly, because he's with us at Bridgend. But obviously moving forward, I hope the likes of Harvey and Morg get those opportunities with the Ospreys, which I'm sure will come, because they've got the attributes and the attitudes to move forward and progress, I feel.
And moving on to your personal career then, and obviously you played in Wales for the Dragons and the Ospreys. What are your standout memories from playing for the regions, and who are some of the best players you played with or against during that time?
The Ospreys was up there with the best of my career. But looking back, probably didn't enjoy it as much as I could have or should have. I was very young, and like I say, I talk about the old school. I was always very respectful of who I was in that environment with. Obviously, on the pitch as a 10, you were a leader. You have to be that communicator. But you kind of off the pitch, you spoke when you were spoken to, when you sat down the bottom of the bus, and probably the good times when you had those victories. Because it was amazing to be part of that 2004-2005 Celtic League winning side, where we beat Edinburgh at the Knoll to pick up the trophy. And I was just looking around that year. The boys in that squad were phenomenal. Shane Williams on the wing, Sonny Parker, Gavin Henson in the centres, Stefan to Blanche at 15, Jason Spice at 9, and I was in there at 10, this young 19, 20-year-old from my stag. And you kind of think, gee, should I be in here? You know, in the pack, you got your Barry Williams, your Duncan Jones, Adam Joneses, Paul Jameses, Hugh Bennett, Brent Cabings. They were just littered with internationals across the board, and myself. And I just said, geez, this is a bit unreal, but always respected the environment, and looking back, probably because of that, probably didn't enjoy it, or not enjoy it, but the good times as much as I would have liked to have had. But you know, they were some of my best memories looking back. That 2005 season, that winning season, it was I was with Wales 21s as well, and we managed to win the Grand Slam that year. And then got selected to represent my country, Wales, on that North America tour to Canada and North America. And again, just the whole experience, going there, witnessing what it was like to tour with an international team at senior level was just absolutely amazing, and one that will live with me forever. Come back, picked up a nasty injury, an ACL reconstruction a few months later, and sort of missed the whole season really. And rugby evolves quick. A whole season, the game had moved on, and a certain James Hook come onto the scene for the Ospreys and absolutely tore it up. People were like, you're a bit cheesed off there that you're not staying with the Ospreys. And yeah, I was disappointed, but how can you be, angry at a guy that was playing so well, such a talented player? And sometimes you got to be realistic and think, well, yeah, this guy's on fire at the moment. He's a better player than me at the moment, and deservedly getting all the credit he deserves. Luckily for me, Lynn Jones, the coach of the Ospreys at the time, was you all know Lynn. We had an early discussion because the Ospreys had James playing exceptionally well at 10. They had Sean Connor, who is an absolutely tremendous player, one of the most underrated 10s, I think, who didn't get capped for Wales there as well. And you had Gavin Ensign, who could cover a 10 as well. His main position was a 12 or 15 at the Ospreys at the time. But, you had three players there, and then you had myself, and, me and James were of a similar age. Sean was in the older category, you won't like me saying that, but he was, he's that safety net, and he was, like I say, one of the most underrated players, and probably one of the most players I've still had and still have the most respect for, and we're still very friendly. Mike Ruddock was the one that capped me that year, and an opportunity came up to, he said, look, I want to take you to Worcester. So Lynn, Mike had obviously had those conversations, and everything was open, and there was no hard feelings. I went to Worcester and thoroughly enjoyed my time there. And again, it was another surreal moment where you wake up on a Saturday morning with your Super Rugby on the TV as a kid, and you're watching your Chris Lathams and your Rico Gears and your Sam Tuitupous playing. All of a sudden, you're in the same environment playing on the pitch with them. It's like, wow, how has this happened? And again, an absolute tremendous environment to be in. Just seeing how different these individuals are, coming from Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, to being with the best of the best in Wales. There was the different cultures, different people. It was absolutely amazing, and one that I look back on, and I made that jump across the bridge. It's very easy to get caught up in that goldfish bowl of Welsh rugby. Being a my stag boy, all my friends, all my family are here. It would have been easy to stay in Wales and carry on playing, and maybe at another region or somewhere. But I wanted to get out of that comfort zone. I had an opportunity, I'd done it, and I loved every moment of it, and so glad I'd done it, and just exposed me to a whole new, I'm not going to say level, but different experience. The league structure, the games, the players you're coming up against week in, week out, the intensity of it was just incredible, but one that I thoroughly enjoyed.
And yeah, you had a spell at Bristol as well. What was that like?
Brilliant again, absolutely brilliant. Loved my time at Bristol. Great bunch of boys. And by this time, I was obviously a lot more experienced as a player. and probably enjoyed my time a bit more, because you find your voice a bit more, and you're part of leadership groups and tactical groups, and you kind of helping the younger boys come through as well then, whereas I was that younger one, that inexperienced one coming through. And like I say, although I was a young 10 coming through on the pitch, on the training pitch, I was very vocal, very confident, but off it, you tend to sit back and just watch and be a sheep and follow. But at some point you have to start giving back as you get more experience, as you grow older, and you start feeding our information that you've learned and developed through being all the experiences you've had with different teams, different players, different coaches. And I felt, I was at a time where I needed to maybe, obviously I was still in my prime, I was only around 27, 28, I think it was. So I wasn't old, but, I was definitely in my prime, and, there was some good youngsters coming through where I could try and share some of that information with those guys as well. There was a difficult time. There was EQP rulings where I was classed as a foreigner because I'd been capped by Wales. So Bristol were buying into you had to have a certain percentage of English players playing at that time. So sometimes you did miss out. Whether that was the excuse for the coach not to pick me or not, I don't know. But it was an easy one for them to get out with. But no, all good memories. We had a Lift Club Warriors, who a group of Welsh boys. We travelled up together, Ross Johnson, Tom Slater, ex-Scottish international Bruce Douglas, and ex-Gloucester fullback Johnny Goodridge. We should share lifts, some great cracks you can imagine in the car on the way up and back. It's not too far, but still you think you're travelling. But when you're amongst friends and you're enjoying it, that was part of the reason why I enjoyed it so much. And the English boys really enjoyed the Welsh boys' banter in the changing rooms and off the field. So it was a great club, and you can see that they were destined for great things, and it's showing now. The development is going on there and still happening there. And the results of late haven't been particularly great, but they're a fantastic team, and they're going to be there for the long haul.
Yeah, and then a few years ago you joined Pontypool as well. So what was the thought process behind going there? So from Bristol, I was I think I I can't remember how old I was now, but I made that transition and started thinking of life after rugby. And I had an opportunity in Coventry. They were professional at the time, but I had an opportunity to go up 2 nights a week and do that, still earn some cash and put things in place for life off the pitch. And that's when my role at Coleg Gwent came about. Paul Young, the ex-Dragons of Wales hooker, was the guy running the rugby program at the time, and he asked me to come in and help. I knew him from being at the Dragons, etc., and we become quite friendly. And so I come in on a voluntary basis in between my time at Coventry. Done a few months there, and things just developed from there, really. And obviously Paul departed. I took on the role about 12 months later, full time, and I've been there since. Probably credit to Coventry that I stayed for another 2 years as well. All the travelling, it was tough. It was really tough, but I really did enjoy my time there. I think it's important when you go into these clubs that you buy into their culture, you buy into the boys, the senior boys who have been at the club a long time, and it really sort of made them welcome me better. The fact that I really bought into it, just staying after matches, turning up, seeing you doing the extras, bringing out a little bit of professionalism to it. And again, there was another couple of strong Welsh contingent. Scott Morgan was a player coach at the second row, was at the Dragons. Wayne Evans, the scrum half at the Dragons, and Barry Davis, the Scarlets fullback. So yeah, it was a couple of eventful trips up and back as well on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and for fixtures on Saturdays. And I really enjoyed my time. Another good club, and a club that's trying to develop and move forward now, playing in the English Champ and doing really well. But yeah, coming back to Pontypool, it was, the travelling was so logistics were quite tough. I just started a young family as well. My wife and I had our firstborn whilst I was in Coventry, and
it was probably just a little bit too far. Although I was really enjoying it. I was working Monday to Friday in the college, and traveling on, well, not going home Tuesdays or Thursdays really, just going to work at 7:30, getting home at 11:30 at night. But I was still doing what I enjoyed as well, so it softened the blow a little bit. But then it came to a point where we had to have a sit down and think this is probably a bit too much now. Your weekends were done with. So yeah, I wanted an opportunity in the coaching front. Met with Pontypool, and a couple of people eyebrows were raised initially, thinking, "Why are you going to the Championship? Why are you not going back to the Prem?" But there was nothing really to prove as a player, really. But it was a very good opportunity. Coaching wise, they were backed by some good people in the Jeffresses who own the club, and they had a plan, a 3-year plan. And as you all probably know, they're still in that position now, through right or wrong reasons. It's been a very successful period for Pontypool, but a very unlucky one, with obviously the ring fence and then that loss in the playoff to Llanelli. And then COVID restrictions has really hindered them, and I do feel for them, because they're a good outfit, got some good people involved, and I'm sure they'll get there. But that was the opportunity, really, the coaching opportunity while still playing as well. And I was always going to do the 3 years. But I'll be honest with you, I always wanted to end back at Neath at some point, where it all started for me as a professional. And I thought that was the right time. I had an ACL injury at my second one. At my last month or two, or a couple of months at Pontypool against Bridgend, actually, ironically, in the cup game and a quarter final. Ruptured my ACL again, and I think, look, a 10's a very big cog in that process to going up for Pontypool, helping them gain promotion, and with me probably going to be out for the biggest part of the season. They needed to recruit at 10, and we had a discussion, we had to sit down together, and we both agreed terms that probably it was the best for both parties, really, and it was a mutual agreement that I was happy to move on and with their best wishes and vice versa. So it was an amicable thing, and I went down to Neath, but thoroughly enjoyed my time at Pontypool. Really enjoyed the successful period. I think we went on a winning run. I think it's still the record now. I can't remember, 40 odd games unbeaten record, I think, and I think they're still going in league fixtures. It's an incredible record. Great bunch of boys, great environment to be involved in. I think probably the main reason they were always coming through those tough games, those the odd couple of tough games they were getting. They were coming out on top just because of that togetherness. That squad would have done anything and everything to win those fixtures, and that was the big difference there. And they got it right. A lot of those players have departed now, so it'll be interesting to see if those players still have that hold over the squad. They brought in a captain in Scotty Matthews, who was my colleague in work, who's a fantastic player, a fantastic leader, and I'm sure he'll do a great job moving forward with them, with a good bunch of coaches as well. So yeah, good club, and I wish them well, and I hope they do achieve what they want by getting promotion to the Premiership.
To finish, we got a teammates quiz for you. So first of all, who's the worst dressed teammate you've played with?
Oh, the worst I've ever played with. Oof, there's a few in there. You got a couple of old school boys, Lyndon Bateman. It's the second rows. It is. They're terrible. You got Lyndon Bateman when I was at the Ospreys, and Mike Powell. They were the Wrangler jeans with the long Asics trainers on after matches, and terrible dress sense, absolutely terrible.
I know Pauli. I played for Caldecott under him. He'll love that one.
I think he's still got his kit from Caldecott and the 15s, I think, in his wardrobe. He's a nightmare. A pair of trainers will last him 15 years. I'm not lying there. There's holes poking out, but he'll put them on after match with a pair of jeans and wear them out for a beer as well. Horrendous scenes.
I think you're onto something with the second rows as well. I think most people say second rows.
I think it is. I genuinely think it is. And, so that look is, they're terrible. They come with the bootcut jeans with the long pointy Asics trainers. They all used to wear Asics trainers as well. But it's quite funny actually. We should have a good laugh about that.
And who's the best drinker you've played with?
The best drinker. I always remember, I can tell you a good drinking story. It was at my first ever senior crosses trip where I got selected to go to Poland, and it was a good honour to get selected. On that trip, you had the people like Sven Kroenke, Alan Bateman, Dale McIntosh, Rod Snow, Rodri Jones, Arwell Thomas, some big names, Kingsley Jones. And I was like, oh, here we go. This is going to be serious. This is going to be we're playing against Poland, Rumour was Mariusz Pudzianowski was playing as well, the world's strongest man. I thought I'd better get my head on you. So we get to the airport, and Alan Bateman says, what do you want to drink? I said, I'll just get a Diet Coke or something, or squash. Looks at me and gives a laugh. What do you want to drink? I'll go and have a full fat Coke in. What do you want to drink? He said, it's either Bow or Lager. It's not large. I was like, oh, I said, we got a game tomorrow. I'll do the choice for you. So he said, look, you're my steak boy, I'm a my steak boy. We'll look after you. He said, I'll look after you. Within an hour, all the boys were on the tables in the airport. We haven't taken off. I was carrying this legend of a man, Alan Bateman. Come on, Al, we got to get on this plane, mate. You're not going to get on the plane otherwise. And it was a great trip. I had high expectations of it being, serious. Look, make no bones about it. When we took to the pitch, it was very, very serious. And I don't think rugby players will ever be any different. But they knew how to enjoy themselves as well. It was the first year it went region, I think, or regional, or maybe the year before it, actually. It was still clubs, your Neaths, your Bridgens, etc. And I was fortunate enough to have a run up with those guys in those times where they knew how to enjoy the matches as well. And there were some big drinkers on that tour. Dale McIntosh, Rod Snow. So, it was a little bit different now. The boys are, they still like to have a beer or two, but it's, it's after maybe the protein shakes being consumed, etc. after matches, and then they go out. So it's probably some of those old school boys, but there are some big drinkers, your Paul Jameses, Assies, your Andrew Millwards at the Ospreys loved the wine, loved the glass of red wine. But I'm trying to think of an obvious one who could swig. I don't know. It's probably one of those lot on those crochets chores. There was a lot of them. I couldn't choose one. Dale McIntosh, the Chief, Rod Snow. Arwell Thomas was a good drinker as well. Although he's, Arwell himself were little guys, but he was a good swigger, to be fair to him, and good fun.
And who's your favourite changing room DJ?
Ooh, again, I kind of still like, I was quite young coming onto the scene, so I kind of liked a bit of upbeat, maybe some dance music or a bit of hip hop, R&B. But some of the older school members, they, some of the stuff that motivated them probably deflated me a little bit. I was thinking, I'm bouncing and coming in the change room, listen to this. Oh, great. But there were some terrible boys, players on the DJ, but senior players you would never dream of arguing with. You like this song, Matt? Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely not. But they would never dream of saying that to them. Guys like Mike Powell again, who like to dominate the music, and mostly your forwards, any of your forwards, but some coaches, very reactive as coaches. If you don't play well, the music's off. Music until you start playing well. I know Pat Hogan at Neath was a bit old school. He didn't want music on in the change room. The boys used to rinse him for it. We'd have to be careful, put it on nice and low first. Well, quick, Pat's coming, turn it off, and then it'd be off. But it's a bit, I'm a bit older now, and the younger boys, it's kind of roles are reversed now. The younger guys are taking over the music, where I'm thinking, great, I can take over the music now, but no, it's gone back the other way now, so I haven't got the opportunity. But I don't mind the music these younger boys are playing now and listening to. It's fine. I like a bit of everything, really, so I'm not too bothered.
Yeah, and without throwing anyone under the bus too much, who's the biggest liability you've seen on a night out?
Well, I'll go on the most recent one, and the most recent club I've been in. We had a bit of a social the other night with Bridgend, and some of the boys tell me Stu Floyd Ellis, I think he's the nephew of Kevin Ellis, he's quite reg on the night out, not in a nasty way, not in a violent nasty way or anything, but just enjoys it to the max. And I kind of experienced a little bit of that a couple of weeks ago, and good fun, just a pest really, just a nuisance, but good fun with it. We've all been there, we've all been drunk. We all say things and do things that gets the rest of the boys in stitches, and it's good for the environment as well to have people like that, because we always like someone we can pick on the next day. Oh, you should have seen what you were doing last night. Or you were saying, and we all hate those. We hate that person, do we? Like, oh, because you were sober. Oh, you should have seen you last. I don't want to know. But Stu was good value for entertainment, and I suppose of the Ospreys, someone the most littlest fella, but can get a bit rowdy, was Martin Roberts, the extra half. He liked to enjoy himself after a few beers as well, and didn't mind expressing his thoughts and opinions to anyone and everyone, really.
And if you were stuck on a desert island, who's the teammate you'd most like to be with and the one you'd least like to be with?
I met a guy called Sam Tuitupou at Worcester. The life and soul of an environment, never a dull moment. New Zealand international player, and pound for pound, probably the best player, most physical I've ever experienced and witnessed to play with. An absolute freak of a guy. But I just remember, I think we were playing Worcester, Leicester, one of the first home games I was at Worcester, and he was changing next to me, and I could see him just smiling into his chair where he changes. I think, what was he looking at? He's got a camera set up ready in the change rooms, just filming all the boys and what they do. Some people prep by going mad. Some people just like left being alone. But Sam would always lift the environment. He was a child in a man's body. He was just such a fun, enthusiastic person to be around. He would have you in stitches. It's just a joy to be around, and still to this day we speak on a weekly basis. We catch up when we can, and some of my best memories are in those changing rooms with him, causing carnage before games, after games, and on nights out. He's Father Christmas. He's literally the most giving man you'll ever meet. He just wants to give all the time. And a friend I've kept in touch with and hope to keep in touch with for years to come. So yeah, someone like him would be a joy to be around just the two of you. One person I wouldn't want to be around, Ryan Powell. Peanut, the scrum half of Worcester, ex-Cardiff Blues. He's Marmite, you love him or hate him, but he's an absolute sapper, a negative person. I loved him to bits personally. And we just bounced off each other because I got him, I understood him. A lot of people didn't, but he would say it as it is. And when he wouldn't mind sapping the environment, not a problem, not a care in the world. And there's certain conversations you think, why have you just said that now? Why are you doing that? But he had no cares in the world. But again, a fantastic rugby player, great person who I'm greatly friendly with, and I actually enjoyed his company. But sometimes I just think, what are you doing or saying this for? But I think we probably went down as two of the fattest halfbacks in Worcester in one game. I always remember one game we were playing Gloucester. It was at King's Home, sold out, and I think the kit man had put the wrong jersey on the wrong size jersey on Ryan's up. And Mike was giving his team talk before we go out, and Ryan was putting his jersey on over his head, and the drum on him, his belly was sticking right out, and Mike was halfway through his team talk, and the boys ready for this. I think it was a do or die game. If we lose, we go down. If we win, we stay up. And Ryan, oh, Mike, hold on a minute. And Mike said, what's the matter? Stands up and just gives the old, look at my drum. I can't go like this. This game's on telly. I can't go looking like this. It probably eased us all and just relaxed us all. It was quite tense, so we ended up going out and winning actually, and I put that down to Ryan. again, that's him being selfish, just stopping everyone in his tracks just because he wasn't happy with the jersey or size of jersey he had, because his belly was sticking out, his drum was out. But again, yeah, worst person Ryan, best person Sam.
That's all for today then. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Not a problem, guys. Anytime. It's been a pleasure and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Cheers now.
Cheers. Best of luck for the season. And to those of you watching, we'll be back on Friday with our weekly preview and review show. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with another guest episode podcast. Thank you and goodbye.